Forget skyscrapers and glass towers. While humans race to touch the clouds, nature's greatest architects are quietly crafting engineering masterpieces all around us, often right under our noses. No blueprints, no tools, just instinct and precision. What they build defies gravity, logic, and even our best engineering minds. Prepare to be amazed. We're diving into the extraordinary world of the Baya Weaver. The Baya Weaver, nature's master builder. They say animals don't have architects, but the Baya Weaver challenges that idea with every strand of grass. Each monsoon season in South Asia, the male Baya Weaver becomes a solo builder with a mission: construct the perfect nest to win a mate. He chooses a high, thorny branch, usually over water, to keep predators like snakes and rats at bay. Then, using just his beak, he weaves thousands of loops from grass or palm fibers, some up to 60 centimeters long. The result? A hanging, sock-shaped nest that takes about 8 days to reach its first stage, known as the helmet. That's when courtship begins. The male sings, flutters, and puts his creation on display. If a female approves, he completes the long entrance tunnel. If not, he destroys it and starts over. Some males repeat this up to 20 times per season. These nests often appear in colonies of 20 to 60, all angled away from monsoon winds like tiny storm bunkers. Old legends claimed these birds lit their nests with fireflies, but the real science is even better. Studies by researchers like Suhel Quadra and T. Anthony Davis found that males often add clay or dung for structural support. Nests built higher and on thinner branches are more secure and more attractive to potential mates. Baya weavers aren't just building nests, they're engineering for survival, mastering wind, height, and structure, one loop at a time. Montezuma Oropendola, the hanging opera house. Just when you think birds couldn't get more theatrical, along comes the Montezuma Oropendola, a jungle engineer and jungle performer rolled into one. Each female is a solo builder, weaving long strands of vine and fiber into hanging, pouch-shaped nests, suspended high on delicate branches, far from the reach of predators. These structures can dangle anywhere from 2 to 6 feet, like natural chandeliers swaying above the forest floor. Strong, flexible, and storm-resistant, they're the ultimate windproof cradles. Some trees host 30 nests, others over 170, a sky village of swinging pods. But life inside isn't so serene. Though females often lay 2 eggs, usually only 1 chick survives. Nature, as always, blends beauty with brutality. Local legends say Oropendolas build near hornet nests for safety, and science agrees. Wasps deter cowbirds and parasites, while the Oropendola's presence keeps bees from harassing the hornets. It's an unspoken alliance, a co-evolved neighborhood watch high in the canopy. And the males? They don't just watch, they perform. Hanging upside down, they flash vivid yellow tails and unleash bubbling, clockwork calls at 500 Hz. Biologist Meredith Miles called it timed choreography, a hypnotic mating display staged beneath a canopy of nests. Oropendolas aren't just nesting, they're putting on a show. Sociable Weaver, the skyscraping city of sticks. From the lush rainforests, we now head to the arid plains of the Kalahari, where we meet a builder unlike any other, the Sociable Weaver. These birds aren't just nest makers, they're civil engineers of the wild. While most birds build for a season, Sociable Weavers build for generations. Using dry grass and sticks, they construct massive communal nests, often perched on a single tree or telephone pole. Some stretch over 10 feet wide, weighing nearly a ton. Inside, up to 500 birds, each with its own room. A true avian apartment complex. Each room serves a function. Tunnels, some more than 10 inches long, lead into chambers that regulate temperature. Cool during scorching days, warm during cold desert nights. Scientists have measured it. While outside temps dip below freezing, the nest interior stays a steady 21 to 24 degrees Celsius. It's natural climate control, powered by nothing but grass and teamwork. These nests aren't temporary. Some are over a century old, constantly maintained, expanded, and passed down. And the nest isn't just for weavers. Pygmy falcons, finches, vultures, skinks, even snakes use the space. While snakes hunt for eggs, They're often blocked by a maze of sharp stick barriers, built like defensive fortifications. In Kalahari folklore, these nests are said to glow with life, sacred temples in the desert sun. And truly, they are, living monuments to cooperation, adaptation, and survival. But if you thought sticks were impressive, wait till you meet the bird that builds with its own spit. Cave Swiftlet, the architect of spit and shadow. High inside the pitch-black caves of Southeast Asia and the surrounding islands, an extraordinary builder quietly goes to work, not with twigs, leaves, or grass, but with its own saliva. Meet the cave swiftlet. These tiny birds nest in total darkness, attaching their homes to vertical cave walls where no sunlight ever reaches. And with nothing but a thick, sticky strand of hardened spit, they create something astonishing. Over the course of 35 days, the swiftlet weaves a small cup-shaped nest, just 8 centimeters wide. Each one weighs a mere 6 grams, yet it's strong enough to hold 2 eggs and 2 adult birds. An engineering feat of lightweight efficiency. In cave systems like Gomentong in Borneo, thousands of these nests cling to the stone like white blossoms, dotting the cave ceilings in ghostly clusters. Since the 14th century, humans have scaled precarious bamboo scaffolding to harvest them for the delicacy known as bird's nest soup, once believed to grant youth, vitality, and power. Legends claimed that red nests had even greater potency, but science revealed the truth. The color comes from guano-stained cave walls, not magic. Still, the fascination remains. The swiftlet's saliva contains rare glycoproteins and minerals, forming a natural bioadhesive so unique, scientists today are still studying it for possible medical and industrial uses, but that attention came with a cost. Overharvesting drove populations dangerously low, especially in places like the Andaman Islands. Then came protection. Between 2000 and 2008, conservation efforts in certain caves led to a 39% increase in swiftlet numbers. When we stopped taking and started listening, the architects returned. The Ovenbird, earthbound engineer. Not every masterpiece is built in the sky. In the dense forests of North America, the Ovenbird proves that even a structure nestled on the forest floor can rival the ingenuity of cliffside colonies or tree-hanging nests. This quiet, ground-dwelling songbird builds low, hidden, and warm. No cliffs, no caves, just a cleared patch of leaf litter and a vision. Using grass, twigs, animal hair, and bark, the female ovenbird crafts a dome-shaped shelter that resembles a tiny Dutch oven, which is where the bird gets its name. It takes about 5 days to construct the curved home, which stands 13 centimeters tall and 23 centimeters wide, with a perfectly fitted nest cup inside for her speckled eggs. But the true genius lies in the side entrance, carefully angled downhill and concealed beneath the underbrush. This hidden doorway makes the nest nearly invisible to predators from above. When danger does approach, snakes, chipmunks, or foxes, the mother performs one of nature's great illusions, a fake injury act, fluttering away as if wounded, luring the predator far from her fragile home. She lays 3 to 6 eggs, most often 4 or 5. After 11 to 14 days, the chicks hatch, leaving the nest just a week later, but staying close under her watch for almost a month. Each nest is unique, its curve, tilt, and texture shaped by local materials and terrain. No two are exactly alike. Even the great poet Robert Frost admired the ovenbird's work, writing about its voice and craft back in 1916. In some parts of Argentina, people believe destroying an ovenbird's nest can bring drought. So they honor the bird, sometimes even building homes nearby, hoping for good fortune. From earthbound hideaways to sky-tethered cities, nature's blueprints are as diverse as they are brilliant. And next, we rise again, into the sky, where mud becomes mortar and teamwork transforms into a soaring village. Woodstock, the swamp architect. Towering at over 3 feet tall, the Woodstock is a master of elevated engineering, building sprawling, sturdy nests that can span up to 5 feet wide, balanced high in trees above swampy water. And they waste no time. Both parents get to work immediately, gathering sticks and leaves, completing construction in just 2 to 3 days. Then comes the finishing touch, a layer of fresh green leaves sealed together with, yes, their own guano. Gross? Maybe. Effective? Absolutely. These nests aren't scattered. They form bustling rookeries, clustered high above 3 to 5 feet of swamp water, a natural moat that keeps predators like raccoons at bay. Each stork pair lays 2 to 5 eggs, which hatch after about 30 days. The chicks? Tiny, just 57 grams at birth, but they grow rapidly, needing constant feeding and care for up to 60 days. For centuries, folklore blurred the lines between the wood stork and its European cousin, the white stork, claiming both delivered babies. But in reality, these birds deliver something far less magical and far more vital: fish. And they're lightning fast. Wood storks can snap their bills shut faster than the blink of an eye to catch prey underwater, guided by touch. Penduline Tit, the tiny trickster. Now meet a bird small enough to sit in your palm, yet smart enough to outwit predators with architecture. The Penduline Tit, just a few inches long, builds one of the most sophisticated nests in the bird world, a swinging pouch that looks like it belongs in a fantasy novel. Made from plant fibers, wool, and spider silk, the male weaves a pear-shaped nest that hangs delicately from tree branches. But it's what's inside that stuns scientists. The Penduline Tit constructs a false entrance, a dead-end tunnel to fool intruders. The real entrance? It's hidden behind a flap, sealed with spider silk, creating a perfect trapdoor system. Some species even build 2 chambers, one decoy, one real. It's part illusion, part fortress. Each nest stands about 20 centimeters tall and can hold up to 9 eggs. Studies show that larger, better insulated nests stay warmer, and females consistently choose mates based on their construction skills. The male spends about a week weaving this miniature marvel, and once the breeding season ends, the nest is abandoned. Yet the birds often return to the same tree year after year to begin again. These nests were once so admired by humans that people used them as slippers and pouches, a tribute to both their durability and design. But now, we trade silk for sunlight and mud, as we meet a bird brighter than the rest, with legs in the water and its mind deep in the wetlands. Flamingo, the mud architect of the marshlands. When it comes to building with mud, no bird does it quite like the flamingo. These graceful pink-legged architects don't just wade in shallow lagoons, they sculpt them. Using their curved bills and strong feet, a mated pair works together to shape a cone-shaped mud tower, rising about 45 centimeters high and just as wide at the base. At the top, a carefully crafted crater, the cradle for a single oversized egg. Why so tall? Simple. The nest rises above sudden floods and reflects heat, while moisture evaporating from the surface cools the egg naturally. It's nature's mud-powered air conditioning. In massive colonies called flamboyances, these mud towers form dense grids, sometimes less than a meter apart, giving the appearance of a planned city. Once the chick hatches, it stays in its tower for about a week before joining a creche, a flamingo daycare, where parents take turns feeding chicks with a nutrient-rich secretion called crop milk, packed with fat and protein. There's a myth that flamingos use twigs or steel to build. False. It's all instinct, mud, and determination. No tools, just talent. Woodpecker, the forest's excavation engineer. Forget bricks and beams. The woodpecker is a demolition expert with a design degree. Using a reinforced skull and a chisel-like beak, it drills into tree trunks to carve out the perfect nesting cavity. A typical nest starts with a small entrance, just a few centimeters wide, leading into a hollow chamber up to 24 centimeters deep. These birds choose trees with decayed heartwood but tough outer bark. Soft inside to carve, hard outside to defend. Depending on the species, it can take 2 weeks to 3 years to finish. The red-cockaded woodpecker, for example, excavates living pine trees over multiple seasons. Inside, there's no soft lining, just wood chips, the byproduct of their own craftsmanship. Each cavity holds 3 to 6 white eggs, laid in a safe, dark chamber. Contrary to old myths, woodpeckers don't destroy trees, they create homes for entire ecosystems. Owls, bats, songbirds, insects, even snakes move into abandoned cavities. Scientists call this the nest web, and woodpeckers are its core engineers. Their anatomy has even inspired human inventions, from camera stabilizers to helmet padding, modeled after the way their heads absorb shock. And now, From wood chips to woven grass, we meet a builder with a mask and a mission. Southern masked weaver, the perfectionist performer. This bird doesn't just build nests, it builds to impress. From September to January, the southern masked weaver becomes a one-bird construction crew, weaving up to 25 nests per season. Each nest takes about 5 days to complete, and it all begins with a bold move, tying a single blade of grass to a branch. From there, it becomes a marvel of natural engineering, a hanging oval dome about 20 to 25 centimeters wide, made of reeds, palm fronds, or long grass strands. The entrance is always at the bottom, sometimes extended with a tunnel to guard against predators like snakes and monkeys. It sways in the wind, but it doesn't fall. These nests are waterproof, wind-resistant, and remarkably strong. Once finished, the male puts on a performance, fluttering, singing, showing off his creation. If the female approves, she moves in and lines the interior with feathers and soft grass. If not, he tears it down and starts over. But there's more. Female weavers can recognize their own eggs by color, a defense against brood parasites like the Diederik cuckoo, which sneak their eggs into others' nests. Research from the University of Edinburgh found that males actually get better over time, tightening patterns, reducing waste, and refining technique with each nest they build. Hamerkop, the fortress builder. Using up to 8,000 pieces of material, twigs, grass, reeds, mud, and even the occasional plastic or cloth, the Hamerkop constructs one of the largest and most durable nests in the bird world. The result? A massive dome-like structure, nearly 2 meters wide and tall, weighing between 25 to 50 kilograms. Construction begins with a flat platform. Then come the thick woven walls, followed by a layered protective roof. Finally, the pair adds a 13-centimeter tunnel leading to a hidden inner chamber, about half a meter across, carefully lined with mud for insulation and strength. It takes about 6 weeks, with the birds making up to 60 trips an hour during peak building. The end product is so solid, an adult human could sit on it without causing damage. But these nests aren't just homes, they're community centers of the wild. Once abandoned, they're claimed by owls, kestrels, ducks, snakes, squirrels, an entire ecosystem under one roof. That's why the Hamerkop is called an ecosystem engineer. In East African folklore, disturbing a Hamerkop nest is said to invite disease or lightning. Myth or instinct, it's effective. The nests are respected and often left untouched. Now, from giant mud domes to cliffside tunnels, meet the European bee-eater, a bird that digs instead of builds. Agile and colorful, the bee-eater pairs use their beaks and feet to tunnel into vertical cliffs, sandy riverbanks, or loamy walls, up to 1 meter deep. At the end lies a cozy nesting chamber, protected from predators and the elements. Excavation takes about 20 days, and once finished, it joins a sprawling colony, sometimes thousands of nests carved side by side. In one 30-year study, scientists recorded over 1,500 nests on a single cliffside. Parents lay 5 to 8 white eggs, sharing incubation and feeding duties. Even older siblings return to help, a rare case of cooperative parenting in birds. And while they're called bee-eaters, they rarely raid hives. Instead, they target wild bees, wasps, and hornets, helping control invasive pests like the yellow-legged hornet. Great Crested Grebe, the floating architect. When it comes to water-based architecture, the Great Crested Grebe reigns supreme. This elegant bird doesn't dig, perch, or tunnel. It builds on water. Using reeds, twigs, and aquatic plants, the grebe weaves a floating nest platform, carefully anchored to submerged vegetation. It drifts with the current, bobbing on ponds and lakes, yet remains secure, held in place by the very roots beneath the surface. Construction can take just a few hours if the conditions are right. Both parents contribute, layering materials to create a stable, water-tethered base that cradles 3 to 4 eggs. These eggs start off chalky white, but soon stain brown from the soaked materials beneath them. Incubation lasts 27 to 29 days, with both parents rotating in near-silent precision, each shift lasting about 2 hours. It's a graceful rhythm, more ballet than biology. Once hatched, the chicks, striped and adorable, are nicknamed humbugs. Though capable of swimming almost immediately, they prefer to ride on their parents' backs, tucked between feathers, safe, warm, and loved. It's transport, bonding, and protection, all in one. There was once a myth that grebes carried their eggs to shore. False. These birds never leave the water during nesting. Their entire survival strategy is tied to buoyancy. In the 19th century, that very grace nearly led to their extinction. Their head plumes became fashion trophies. With only 42 nesting pairs left in the UK, they hovered on the edge. But groups like the RSPB stepped in and the grebe made a comeback. Today, they glide again, nest, mate, and young floating like dreams above the rippling surface. Bald eagle, the monument maker. If nature handed out blueprints for legacy, the bald eagle would hold the master copy. These raptors don't just build nests, they build monuments. A typical bald eagle nest starts at around 6 feet across and 4 feet deep. But the real magic lies in loyalty and scale. Each year, the same eagle pair returns to the same site, adding more layers of sticks, moss, grass, even seaweed or kelp. Over time, that seasonal effort turns into something enormous. Some nests reach 9 feet wide, 20 feet deep, and weigh nearly 3 tons. That's right, more than a car. One legendary nest in Florida, started in the 1950s and used until 1963, still holds the world record, the largest bird nest ever recorded. These nests sit high, 60 to 200 feet above ground, usually in towering trees near water teeming with fish. Structurally, they resemble an upside-down wine glass, deep-walled and soft-lined, cradling their eggs like they're stored in a velvet vault. From 1990 to 2012, researchers along the upper Mississippi studied eagle nesting habits. They found eagles choose their sites based on branch strength and water proximity. And once a spot is chosen, they can stay loyal to it for decades, sometimes over 50 years. A myth claims Benjamin Franklin called bald eagles lazy. But when you see these nests, their scale, engineering, and endurance, that critique falls apart. These birds aren't lazy, they're legends. So now that you've witnessed nature's greatest builders, from floating nests to fortress domes to high-rise mud cities, what amazed you most? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the wild still holds secrets we haven't even imagined.